Bienvenidos a Gracias por tu Servicio, el podcast con la intención de hablar sobre los temas relevantes de los militares, veteranos y veteranas de Puerto Rico. En el episodio de hoy estaremos hablando con Michael Ledford de Rollout PTSD. Bienvenido a un nuevo episodio de Gracias por tu Servicio. En el episodio de hoy estaremos hablando con Michael Ledford, el fundador de Rollout PTSD. Antes de comenzar, quiero darle las gracias a Rubén Sierra y al equipo de PBA por haber organizado una actividad de primera este pasado domingo en Punta Salina. También le quiero dar las gracias a todos los que llegaron a participar del evento. Esperamos que sigan apoyando estos tipos de actividades, ya que son esenciales para llevar a cabo el mensaje de estas organizaciones. De hecho, quiero aprovechar el momento para hablarles de Walk of Honor. Walk of Honor es una actividad que se llevará a cabo el sábado 25 de mayo en Aguadilla en honor a aquellos que sirvieron. El punto de comienzo será desde el Coffee Spot, localizado en la carretera 110 de Aguadilla, y se caminará hasta el cementerio Atlantic Garden, donde se pondrán banderas en las tumbas de los veteranos. Para más información, pueden contactar a uno de los veteranos y organizadores de la caminata, el señor Samuel Pérez, al 787-629-1718. Dios mediante, diré presente también, así que espero verlos ahí. Y no se me puede quedar nuestro patrocinador de la tercera temporada de Gracias por tu Servicio, Buff Bear. Visiten a buffbearpr.com para que vean la variedad de camisas, gorras y pantalones cortos con el estilo exclusivo que sigue redefiniendo la ropa deportiva. Our guest for this episode is the founder of Rollout PTSD, Michael Ledford. Michael served for 8 years in the Army as a 13 Bravo Field Artillery. He deployed to Iraq in 2011 and returned 4 years later as part of a humanitarian mission that aided women and children that were in distress during the ISIS conflict. In January of 2020, Michael decided to relocate to Puerto Rico, where he decided to legally register Rollout PTSD, a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the lives of fellow veterans and their family members by incorporating fellowship and camaraderie through experiences with outdoor adventures here on the beautiful landscape of our island. Through word of mouth, I was introduced to Rollout PTSD and became interested in hearing all about Michael's journey. So in our first conversation, he immediately shared his passion for helping veterans, and he was gracious enough to come to our podcast to speak about his organization and his mission. So thanks for being with us, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have me on.
Sure, it was a pleasure. As I mentioned in our first conversations, I heard your passion about what you wanted to do here in Puerto Rico and immediately wanted to share your story and what Rollout PTSD is for our population so that way they know what you're about and all the beautiful things that you guys are doing over there in the west side of the island and other parts as well, but mainly in the west. So I'll just go into the questions real quick. Can you share with our listeners the origins of Rollout PTSD and what inspired its creation?
Well, I'd had 2 deployments. My first deployment was with 1st Infantry Division to Iraq, 2008, 2009. That set the trend of a family and a brotherhood. Right after coming back, I went through some surgeries and mental health counseling, not realizing that I had a lot of stuff going on with me that I needed more time to address, physical and mental wounds. With that being said, I'd re-enlisted in Baghdad to move to 25th Infantry Division in Hawaii. That's a rapid deployment unit. So we were already cut orders to head to Afghanistan. I think it was April 2011. Everything was like a blur between there. That's really where my journey began. We deployed April 2011. I made it 7 months of that deployment before I got physically and mentally messed up. So that being said, fast forward to 2014, I discharged from the Army and I head home. This is where the beginning of Rollout starts to evolve. I didn't see it at the time, but I do now. I thought as we were coming to the career in the military that family back home was also growing too. That wasn't the case. When I come home, originally from Dalton, Georgia, North Georgia, I come back home into a family that was still really messed up, the majority on drugs, heavy alcoholism. I was pretty messed up myself in many, many ways. And everything fell apart at that point, man. Gosh, a year later, I'm going through a divorce. My wife leaves me. Don't blame her at all. Gosh, I was pretty messed up. I was trying to get things right, but I didn't know how to assimilate to civilian life. So I ended up going through a suicide attempt. It was Valentine's Day, 2014. Utilizing alcohol. I got drunk and gave up. I thought my kids were better off without me. I thought they would have a better life without dad being in it because I was convinced I was that messed up. So I take my expedition on I-24 in Tennessee, near Dollywood, I think. I slam into a flatbed semi over 80 miles an hour, break my ribs, man, all kinds of stuff. Chain reaction. So I heal. God bless me. And moving forward from that, the divorce follows. Life falls apart, I think. Everything's kind of coming full circle of like, what do I do? So I do what only a rational thought I had, and I head back to Iraq. That's when the journey began, man. I was just trying to die right. Nothing made sense anymore. I come home to a family that didn't exist. My dad, I buried him almost a week, 2 weeks after returning to cirrhosis of the liver and heavy hepatitis. Didn't really know the man for the last 3 years of his life, and that was me coming home from the Army. Life was just not good anyway from where I come from and going into the Army, I guess you would say. That being said, let's fast this forward now to Rollout PTSD. What I learned, and I'm not a scientist. I didn't do any statistics, but dang, the numbers seem to be lining up. I believe 9 out of 10 of us that join the U.S. military come from broken homes as soldiers. I'm not talking on the officer standpoint, where there's different breeds, different ways. It's set up for that for a reason. But soldiers, the masses, most of us come from broken homes. When we go through basic training, I personally was 29 years old when I went through basic training. What I went through was family. When the people to your left and right and your front and back are willing to die for you, to me, that's family, man. And then those 8 years pass. War goes past. That's why I went. Then this thing comes around called PTSD that they tell me about. I'm like, no, wow, okay, whatever. I traveled the world from 2015. I actually ended up going back throughout Europe, Georgia, Armenia, the UK, France, Belgium. I was all over the place. All this happened between 2015 and 2020 until I was blessed to move to Puerto Rico. What I was learning along the way was, oh my gosh, I'm not healing going across the world. There was no healing going home. What was healing? And I come to the conclusion of I needed another basic training, reverse basic training. The U.S. government has it down to a science, 10 to 12 weeks of breaking down the human mind to help us become soldiers, then warriors and members of a team. We start assimilating, but it takes that process. Well, why can't the same process happen with the 10 to 12 weeks of a basic training to society? How to work, how to talk, gosh, how to understand. And hence Rollout PTSD. My dream one day is to become a reverse basic training to where we can accommodate that 10 to 12 weeks for the masses straight into our military branches as the ETS process is beginning to offer, hey, did you know that most of you may go home and there may not be a home or most likely won't be a home there waiting for you? You grew, they most likely didn't. That being said, if you choose to go home, well, you've met us, Rollout PTSD. Contact us as soon as you see that red flag and come back home. Let's toe the line again together and let's go help our country.
So real quick, was that the main reason that you were motivated to establish a presence here in the island?
That was me just still trying to find a home. So I come, I move. It was who lived on the island as well. His name was Julio Ramos Garcia. He was my first command sergeant major. So this man was finishing his last 30 plus years of duty on me. In fact, Command Sergeant Major Ramos got to demote me like probably 3 times. I remember doing extra duty for that man in AIT and at the big rental. But no, he stayed in my life along the whole journey, even coming out of the Army. A lot of things happened. I didn't just leave the Army. I was court-martialed. After Iraq and Afghanistan, I lost my mind, man. But my Command Sergeant Major Ramos and many of my other prior chain of command with a big red one wrote letters on my behalf and even spoke up for me to save my life and never let go from that point on. And he just followed me through social media when I was traveling, especially when I went back to Iraq and then throughout the world. And he always insinuated if I ever came to Puerto Rico, he would help. He would help what I was doing. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. So I end up back to a God thing, man. John Gonzalez calls me, says, I have an apartment. You need to come to Puerto Rico. I come. I'm here, gosh, I don't know, a couple months. Ramos comes across the island, gets involved in my life. And then a few others just along the way accumulate. And it's like, Michael, you're helping so many. We need to establish something here. And I'm like, man, I got a GED. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just blessed to talk, you know? And then more and more people got in my life and helped establish this beautiful organization here in Puerto Rico. Now we are going on over 3 years old as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are established in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. West side is the best side. Things are evolving. It's still hard for me to explain what's going on. But I will say this, I couldn't have done it anywhere else. It's your people. It's your culture. This is the best part of our beloved United States of America, I truly believe. And we house the best VA and DAV Aguadilla 14. I believe in the country.
Could you describe some of the activities that Rollout PTSD offers to individuals grappling with the trauma of PTSD?
Yes, we go with paddleboarding. Most of all, inflatable paddle boards, because most of us have injuries or just out of shape, and they don't hurt so bad to fall on, and they're easily portable. Then from snorkeling, a lot of water activities. As much as we can get into the water to start moving. It conquers a lot of fears and gets a lot of movement back we're not used to. Other activities are, we stay in the mountains, whether we're with Montaña Explora and El Hippie Naguabo, rappelling, zip lining, light hiking to intense hiking to jumping waterfalls, sliding. We call it God's natural slides off of the rocks. Basically, just, waterfalls. A lot of camaraderie. It's the weather here. Year round, we can do pretty much anything we want. We do not have to go inside. That's the key.
Awesome. So as you look to the future, how does Rollout PTSD envision continuing to grow in the type of activities that you're doing, or how do you want to expand here on the island?
I dream of connecting all these beautiful organizations and small business owners across the island. Before I joined the U.S. military, I was in the corporate world in sales, but I was also part of business guilds. And something I envisioned was the same concept of a guild. Even if we're not 10 miles apart on this island, some places are still about 2 hours to get there. But in every barrio, every town or community I go there in the vicinity, there's a little bit of every one of us doing something similar. But the problem is the connection. We're not connected. And I envision a guild, like it's not the business guild, but just a family guild, a Puerto Rican guild, to where we can connect. We don't step on one another. And I know this ain't for everybody, but there's a lot of us out there across the island like me and yourself, and the ones we've met, we know that it is. So my vision is us to connect. Why? We're a militarized island. There's more veterans here and service members than I've ever met in my life in one area. That being said, most of us actually care about our communities, especially when we get our minds right. All this is about turning back to the children. In fact, right now, one of the biggest things I'm working on, and please keep me in prayer and please put us out there, is targeting the universities. There's so many brilliant young minds coming out that are leaving our island. They don't got to. Right now, we're building Rollout PTSD. We are blessed. And I see, instead of trying to go out and pay a bunch of people to come in and build the internal components of running our organization, why not bring the college students in? And that's what I have to offer of being the founder and president of Rollout PTSD. I'm inviting the universities to come in and I'm inviting them to help utilize their students to build our office personnel. That's real-time experience. That's giving these young minds and beautiful minds time with military personnel. A lot of us are very disciplined, especially when we start moving. I still wake up at 4 a.m. I'm doing PT by 6:30, you know? And that being said, it comes full circle to a name I used a little while ago. Scott Castle took his life in 2019. Scott was retired CIA and retired Army Reserve, 20 years, both ends. Scott had a vision. It was called Veterans Initiative. At the time, he was at the University of Texas in South Texas, Brownsville, in the rocket space industry. He said, man, we've got all these university students that study, they get things in order. And then we got all us veterans over here that we get things done. What would be happening if you paired us together? And right now, I guess I'm running through that great experiment. The big vision I see is bringing more and more veterans like myself to Puerto Rico on excursions, whether 3 to 7 day excursion, R&R. They hang out with me or your types. As they're with us, we're taking them out. Yes, we are doing adventures, but this is not a vacation. During that time, we're picking them apart. We're finding out what their true limits are. We're finding out what's going on, because when we get back in our battle buddy stages and hanging out, we talk. Along the way, my organization, we're plugged in with Social Security lawyers in the states and state of Tennessee. They'll help you even from here. I can help you get your Social Security, disability, or pension. We've got the DAV Aguadilla 14. Pedro Cortez here jumps right into getting your benefits for you immediately with his team. If we can't do it here, we also have the private sector, other command sergeant majors that retired and started their own companies in Alabama. So all the resources are here. Most of all, it's my chance to share how much getting help is manly. That's how I got to where I am. So the big picture, to get all of our battle buddies that want to change to come out and have some fun with us, and then plug them in to possibly a better life other than suicide, drug addiction, alcoholism, and losing their families. Not all of us get a second chance.
Yeah, that's true. You mentioned Tennessee. I understand that you guys have another chapter going on in Chattanooga. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Brother Pete Burns, God bless the Air Force veteran. He was a medic. Pete Burns started that up there. Pete Burns actually is the one who was by my side from the beginning. When I left back for Iraq in 2015, I'd left out of Chattanooga, Tennessee to start my journey. He's another battle buddy. God bless me with, like Command Sergeant Major Ramos. Yeah, we're growing there.
That's great. Now, I know you're involved in a lot of activities on the west side of the island. Can you tell us about any of the activities that you got going on in the upcoming weeks or in the upcoming months?
Yes, this is actually a very busy month for us. I want to give a shout out, first of all, Terry Cotto, Julio Cotto, Brandon Broadshow, my team here on the island, and Amanda Thompson in the States, our CEO and Vice President, for all these events coming and all the personnel that's helped us. This Thursday, Playa Rumpiolas or Rumpiolas Beach here in Aguadilla, we are having a potluck at 10 a.m. the 2nd of May, Thursday. So this is coming Thursday. We'll have a couple paddle boards out, snorkel gear, pulling out the grill. It is our first event coordinating with our brothers from the mental health of the VA and peer support leaders. I want to give a shout out to Jasmine and Lewis. I love them. Awesome peer support counselors at the VA and Maya West. So that's the 2nd of May, our potluck. Then we have our pre-Mother's Day celebration, which is the 4th of May. So this coming Saturday at Playa Colón or Beach Colón, which is also an Aguadilla Pueblo. It's down on by the treehouse, if you know the area. It is a $20 cover fee. We provide food, cold drinks, non-alcoholic, music, paddleboard, snorkeling equipment. A huge day for moms and just sisters to connect. There'll be a couple of my personnel out there just watching the water, lifeguards and whatnot. But encourage all ladies to come hang out, connect, especially female veterans. We have groups every day in Maya West VA, but very few females are coming. So I just want to encourage all female veterans. You're welcome. You're loved. It takes a while to get used to some of us. I get it. But come on out. If not, just come out to the pre-Mother's Day celebration. Also, the 27th of May, Punta Santiago, Humacao. We have our third annual Walk to Remember Memorial Day walk. That is the Memorial Day, by the way, the 27th of May. That walk's so important to me because I joined the Army at the age of 29 because I lost a very good friend that I loved dearly. His name was Marshall Edgerton. He lost his life to a VBID, vehicle bomb, 2003 in December, Ramadi. And when we walk, that's who I remember. For that man's life, so many others' life was given through Rollout PTSD. His name was Marshall Edgerton. So I encourage everyone to come out on that third annual Walk to Remember in Punta Santiago.
Will you be doing the Walk of Honor in Aguadilla as well?
I believe that's on the 25th of May, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. A few of the guys that put that walk together are in their groups and the peer support at my OSVA. We've actually been promoting that too, so please press that. That's out on our sites, so I will be there as well.
I will be there, and I will be promoting it on the podcast so other veterans can join us, as well as the one that you just mentioned on the 27th. So how can people get involved with the organization?
Perfect question. You can contact Terry Cotto at terry@rolloutptsd.org or Brandon Broadshow, Brandon@rolloutptsd.org, or myself, Michael@rolloutptsd.org. Ways to help: rolloutptsd.org. Our website has a donation site. Any donations are greatly appreciated. That buys more equipment, safety gear, and takes care of veterans and families when we do have the resource to do that in many other ways. Also, volunteer help. Come out and hang out. This isn't rocket science. I think they used to call this normal about 20 years ago. But hey, who am I? And let's collaborate. Let's help you take this into your area, especially here on the island. Don't think because I'm doing it, you can't. I assure you, if I can do it, you can too. And that being said, the other route is our campaigns. If you look at our website, we offer campaigns to where we will help the veteran or family members or anyone suffering with PTSD. Come on, man, after COVID, the lockdown, everyone's been in their own private wars or whatever. So we've opened our hearts. We set out to love everybody anyway. But we have what we call campaigns to where we will help you with your own connections and resources and anyone's. We got to raise the money to bring you out here into our care, to under the picking you up to the airport, to having the roof over your head, feeding you each day, taking you by that hand just like I needed those 10 years ago. And we hope by the time you leave through the campaigns that you go back home and you know how to be plugged in and at least start getting grounded where you need to be.
That's awesome. And for our listeners, we're going to have all that information on the description of our episode. So if you feel like donating, just go through the page. They have a lot of cool stuff on the page. I've been through it. They have some cool videos. Michael doing some of the activities with the veterans that come down here in Puerto Rico and enjoy our landscape and beautiful island. So if you can, just support this in any which way you can, either by promoting it or just giving it a like or follow on their social media pages and whatnot.
The biggest thing is community. The biggest thing. As we are out hanging out, you'll find that we dive into beach cleanup. Pretty much anything we can find around our community to help. We've got a couple orphanages that we get to work with through Project Give Back. My other retired command sergeant major that's in my life and mentoring me, Jose Garcia Aponte. He's not here right now. He's in Alabama. But he's the founder of Project Give Back, pgb1.org. Please check them out because he's given us the next level of helping us reconnect to our communities. As we get our lives back, like I got mine, I get to go help children now and battered women. We have a women's shelter we work with. The youngest mother's 14 years old, and we help supply those things. So it's not just me. We also have another organization out here called Stronger Than Maria, retired command sergeant major, a.k.a. Toot Coat, where they build homes since Maria. And then we have Link 8 out of Asbury University. Miss Maribel and Chad and Chandy Mays. Chad is the women's basketball coach of Asbury University. We work with them all summer doing humanitarian project. You put it on athletic camps for the children. So please, please, please get involved with us. Through us, we just connect elsewhere, just like all you guys right there, brother. It's teamwork. It makes the dream work.
Yes, sir. Before we go, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience, any special important message you would like to share that people know about either yourself or Rollout PTSD?
Yeah, no matter where you are, what you're going through, you do matter. And there are people like us out here that care. So I encourage you all to dig deep and reach out. Where there's a will, there's a way. I am living proof. Come hang out with me and get to know me a little bit more, and you'll be like, holy crap, I really can do it. Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. I love you all. Facilísimo. It's too easy.
Yes, sir. If you meet Michael, you'll get infected by his energy and you'll go along with him on that path and become a believer just as he has and has us all believing that this is possible. Like he says, it's all about community. It's all about building each other up and helping others that are down get back to where they need to go. So, Michael, once again, thank you for being here and I wish you the best and I appreciate you.
Love you, brother. Thank you.
Queremos compartir que en el próximo episodio estaremos compartiendo los programas que están disponibles para las esposas militares con nuestra amiga Litza Martínez del Family Program, así que estén pendientes. Para apoyar nuestro proyecto, pueden ir a nuestra página de Facebook y darle like. También nos pueden seguir en Instagram y YouTube para contenido adicional. Y por último, solo falta decir, gracias por tu servicio.